seek you out, flay you alive.
Hey guys, Pogo here, and welcome to the next episode of BanManagement. In this episode, we're going to hopefully finalize the Bukkit plugin. We are going to have it connect to the URL, and, so we're going to connect to the URL, or the API, connect to the correct part of the API, and then do whatever it needs to do, whether that's sending information or receiving information. So, there are a couple of different things. First of all, let's just get rid of time because that's done automatically for us. Okay, cool. Okay, so there are 4 parts here. There's going to be pushing for banning and unbanning. There's going to be getting data for checking the ban, and then sending a request to see if the player is banned. Let's just quickly look at the API that we have. We have our add, which will add a user given the UUID and reason. So for here, when we go to ban, it's going to push the UUID and the ban reason, and we're going to use the add.php. Where we have get, we are going to be able to pass it the UUID and have it do that. So here we're going to send a request to the web API and read the data. So it's going to send the request and then it's going to see what information it gets back. Finally, for remove, it will take the UUID and remove it. And that will work for the unban. And then here, when we go to check to see if the player is banned, that's going to be the same thing as, sending the UUID and seeing their data, because then if they have data, it means that they're banned, and then we can kick them. So let's just go ahead and write a private utility method. We're going to call it private HTTP URL connection, create connection, and it's going to take in the API that we want, get, set, or remove, if that's what they're called, and it's going to take in the arguments, and then it's going to actually create the data for us. So first we need to convert the arguments into a byte array. So it's going to be args.getBytes given charset.forName UTF-8. So we need to convert this into UTF-8 bytes so that we can send it along. And we also need the length of the data, which can just be args.length. But we need to know the data as bytes and the length of the data so that we know exactly how much we're going to send. Then we have our URL, we'll just call it request, which is going to be equal to, and now where is it going to be hosted? We're just going to say www.myserver.com, and again, you would have to fill this in, or it would, I guess, come from a configuration file, but then it would be myserver.com. Let's just say it's hosted under bans, and then from there it's going to be API, and then it's going to be add, get, or remove. So then we're going to say whichever API they're trying to access, .php. So the API will either be get, set, or remove, and then it'll construct the URL out of whatever it's given. Finally, we need to create a URL out of the given request. Let's import URL. There is, of course, a chance that it won't work, so let's just go ahead and stick this inside of a try and catch. And we'll just have it print the stack trace for now. You might want to have it actually give a decent error. Now we're going to open a connection. And we're going to say url.open connection, and we're going to need to cast that to URL connection, HTTP URL connection. So we're now opening a connection to our website. There's a couple of different things we need to do. We need to say set do output to be input to be true, and we need to do set do output to be true. There are some cases where we're going to use input and not output, some cases where we're going to use both, but we'll just set them both to true. I don't believe that there's an issue with that. If there is, then we will fix it. We need to set the request method to be post because all of these use post, not get, so we need to make sure that it says post. And then there are a couple of request properties. For example, content type, which we'll just say application xwww form URL encoded. Don't worry about that. That's just the type of data that we're going to send. It should be property, not method. Set request property. The other one is the char set, which is we're doing everything in UTF-8, and request property of content length, which will be integer dot value of, and then data length. I'm sorry, I don't even think we need that. So string dot value of. So we also need to tell it the so we need to tell it the content length is whatever the length is that we already know. And then finally we need to, at this point we're now connected, and post data is sent after the connection is made. So we need to go ahead and say data output stream out is equal to new data output stream, and it's going to take connection.get output stream. And this will allow us to just write out.write, and it's going to be the data, which is our bytes, and then I think we want to flush it and close it because we don't need it after we write out that data. So this should work. We'll of course see if it does. So right here where we go to push this, we're going to say, actually I guess this can just be void and we'll call it connect because it's going to do everything for us. So we'll go ahead and connect to add, and the data that we give it needs to be written in the same format as a get request. So the data is going to be UUID is equal to UUID, and the reason is going to be equal to, and then the message. So we're connecting to the add file, and then that's the data that we're giving it. And that should work. Now here, when we go to unban, we're going to connect to the remove, and we of course don't have a reason, we just have the UUID and it'll remove it. Then when we have the get, and I guess we actually do need to do that, and we're going to say down here after it does that, return connection, and then if it fails it'll just return nothing, and that's fine. So we're going to say, because we need to get, we're going to say HTTP URL connection is equal to, so we're going to connect to the API of get, and we're going to pass it the UUID. And now we have access to this because we need to read information from it. So data input stream in is equal to new data input stream from connection.get input stream. And of course, this needs to go inside of a try and catch. And so we have in, and this is only going to be one line, I believe, because it echoes get, and I believe that it's going to give it as one line. So we're going to say string data is equal to in dot read UTF, and then we'll just we'll leave it at that, because I believe it's going to be in JSON. If not, we will make it in JSON. So we're going to have to, or something, we're going to have to parse the data that we receive. So we'll leave it at that for now. And then of course we need same thing in here, because we're going to check the information. We're going to read in the data. We need e.get player.getUniqueID. Okay, so this all should work. And alright. Alright, we will need to revise the API a little bit over here to make sure that it will work with this. Make sure that it will give us data in a good format, and then of course here we're going to need to parse it. So we'll worry about that in another episode, but now we have it so that it should be able to connect. I'm going to pause this video and get a server started, which should not be a problem, and then we're going to see if we can test this and see if it actually connects and everything. Alright, so I have the website open, and it is currently completely empty. There are no bands on it right now. And I also have a server running, and I compiled the latest version of the plugin, and it started with no issues, and I ran the ban command, and it gave me the error that it's supposed to, because I didn't type a name or UUID. So we didn't break anything, at least with the startup. But I have no idea if this is actually going to work. So let's go ahead and try banning PogoStick29. And it prints out the name of PogoStick29. It also prints out my UUID. And let's see, I'm not sure if it's supposed to give me a message. I guess it is. So it should say you have banned name for message. So we'll see. Alright, looks like it is not working right now. Maybe we need to close the connection. No. Disconnect. We can try that. And we'll stop the server. Okay. Start it again. And maybe it was just remaining connected and that was the problem. So we'll see if this helps. Let's just quickly check the website. No. Okay, that's what I thought. So now we'll go ahead and ban PogoStick29. It is pretty quick to find the name and the UUID, but after that, it does not seem to do anything. So I believe that it's getting stuck because it would, after that, send a message saying that I have been banned, or saying that I have banned someone. So seems like it's not getting to that point where it's finished. I'm gonna try bucket.getServer.getScheduler. Schedule sync delayed task of this and a new runnable. Let's just try putting this as a delayed task. Alright, that's fine. And we'll see if that helps at all, because maybe, oh, there we go, we did get an error. Okay. Because I think if we make it, kind of run in the background, that might be better. Because it does say the server has stopped responding, and that's not good, so it was taking too long. Oh, of course, it's not the actual website, that's why. It should still be better to put it in a delayed task, but I don't have the actual website. I have myserver.com. So let me put in the actual URL. I went ahead and added the correct URL. Oop. Alright, so I went ahead and added the correct URL, so maybe it'll work better now. I was trying to connect to a fake URL, and that's probably why it wasn't working. Well, it says that I banned PogoStick29 for you have been banned, so let's reload. And doesn't look like it's received any information. it's not displaying a ban. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that probably didn't work. Let's just go ahead and try check ban pogostick 29. And that's going to give an exception. That's an end of file exception. I guess it didn't get any data, so it didn't read anything. And I'm not going to worry about that too much. In fact, let's take these all out of there, because I don't think that should be a problem. Especially if the server is local, it should be not an issue at all. So it does connect, and then it says you've banned, so it goes through the connection part, but it does not seem to be working. So let's just quickly look and see. Oh, that's why. It does extra index.php. Let's try rebuilding it. It says you have banned. Hit reload, and no, still does not seem to be working. Okay. It's all part of the debugging process, but we have array, and then we are calling the add, which is right here. Oh, the key, of course. It is missing the key, although actually I have that die part commented out, so it should still work. So post UUID and post reason. Let's just check here and see if these are formatted. So it's the UUID equals UUID and reason equals message. My only guess is that perhaps the data that it's getting is not quite in the correct format. Like reason, if it has spaces, that could be a problem. Let's see if that worked. No. Okay. Let me just pause the video and see what's wrong. Right, so there were two things that I did to try and fix the problem. First of all, with HTML you cannot have spaces, so I'm replacing all the spaces with %20, which is basically HTML for a space. You can't have actual spaces. That's important. The other thing, it seems really happy when you do connection.getInputStream. That's what fixed it. I was doing a little debugging, and just having getInputStream seemed to really be good for it. So I have the version. I have it right here, and you'll see all these different things that I did. But I can go ahead and write ban pogostick 29. And if I reload, you'll see it just added. It says you have been banned, the default message, of course. And then it has the current date and time, 6:36 and 6 seconds. It has my UUID, and then it generates the ID. And if I click on it, it gives me that information. So the banning part is now working. Again, I made sure that spaces and the messages were fine. And then I also did connection.getInputStream, which seemed to fix the issue. So let's go ahead and see check ban, and I have no idea if that's actually going to work. Okay, so that does not work as I thought, and let's try unban, that's what it is. Unban pogostick 29, and look at that, it deleted all of the entries there. So when I unbanned myself, I had multiple entries, but it just deleted all of the entries for me. Theoretically, you would only have one entry per person, and then it would remove that one entry. But the ban and unban parts do work well. The only parts that don't work are the check ban and, I guess, the player login, probably. So I'm going to have to take a look and see what is wrong with that. So hang on one second. So the fix to this was, again, a simple fix. I used, instead of a data input stream, I used a buffered reader. I usually prefer using that. So it uses connection.getInputStream, but it's a buffered reader, and then I just read the line and print out the data, and I changed it in both places. So I first banned myself, of course, with a default reason, and then when I do check ban for pogostick29, it prints out this data. It has the ID of 15, the UUID, the date, and the reason. So it gives me all this information. The only issue is that it's in JSON format. It's in that weird kind of format, but then all we have to do is, parse it so that we can say, oh, ID is 15, UUID is whatever, date is whatever, and reason is you have been banned. So in the next episode of the Bukkit piece of this, we will do the parsing. But as you can see, banning and unbanning both work 100% with the commands connecting to the website, and the getting of the data, it does get the data correctly, but we just need to make sure that we can put it out in a user-readable way. So we're going to do that. That'll take a little bit. So as always, subscribe if you want to see more, comment with what you want to learn. If you like this video, click the like button, and I'll see you guys soon with some more Bukkit. Bye for now.